And good morning, Newton Falls. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Lynch. I'm the city manager here for Newton Falls, Ohio. And this is our morning briefing. Comes to you twice a week, Tuesday mornings and Friday mornings. We started this all because of the COVID-19. And as we continue in the era of the pandemic, we continue these programs just Tuesday and Friday mornings at around 7:30. And they come to you at zero cost to the taxpayer. None, nada, zilch. And that's because of the kindness of our producer and director, Tom Gregory from Gregory Films. And we appreciate his kindness in extending this consideration so that the taxpayers of Newton Falls pay nothing in order to have this program go on the air Tuesday and Friday mornings. Well, as I mentioned in our last broadcast, we are right in the middle of the dog days of summer. We've had a tremendous algae bloom in our river. We've gotten some calls about that. And this is the worst algae bloom we've had in the river in 9 years. So as a result of that, there is some discoloration in those of you that have especially sensitive sniffers, some odoriferous result in our water products to you as well. It's happening all across the country, by the way. And the reason it can't be eliminated completely in terms of your final product is that we have to deal with the algae through a balance of chemical activities, and we can't overdo it. Otherwise, the water becomes unsafe for you, and that's the key. The water is absolutely safe for drinking, bathing, cooking, and everything else. We monitor the water quality every single day, so it's got a little bit more of that olive greenish brown tint to it during these days of the algae bloom. But this too shall pass, as it is taking place all across our country. Well, I start off by saying these are the dog days of summer, and how apropos for the guest we have in our live line right now, because in Trumbull County, we actually have an office of the dog warden. You know, a lot of counties have an animal department, but we specifically have an office of the Trumbull County dog warden, and the executive dog warden of all of Trumbull County is on our live line, Michelle Goss. Good morning, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great. Thanks for coming on today. I guess
problem.
the first thing I'll ask is, in the era of the pandemic, how has the dog warden's office had to live life a little bit differently? What have you had to do?
Yeah, everything's kind of changed. Right now, we're going by appointments only. Everybody's wearing a mask. Any business we can do outside, we're conducting outside. Just quick walkthroughs, things like that. We're just trying to keep everybody safe and ourselves.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Now, you say you're doing things different. What is the normal course of activities? What kind of things do you do in the Trumbull County Dog Warden's office?
Well, on a daily basis, we're usually picking up strays out in the community, or the public's bringing in strays. We are adopting our dogs out from the facility. Just all about public safety and things like that. We deal with neighborhood complaints and disputes and dogs running at large and things like that. And then, of course, there's the license sales and things like that we do. Every dog in the state of Ohio has to have a current license. So we do sell those at our facility. Everyone in Trumbull County also, of course, has to have one.
Sure, sure.
We chip, microchip. We do a lot of stuff. ID tags.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm interested in the microchipping. What is that process? What's that all about?
It costs $25 to have your dog chipped at the pound. It's just a quick injection, and then that way, if your dog comes up lost, a vet clinic or an office like us, or some type of animal shelter, if the dog comes in, they can scan it, and it picks up a number that will lead us back to an owner.
All right, so does somebody actually have to read that chip once they found it, or can I go on a screen like a GPS and see where my dog has wandered off to?
No GPS. We do not have the GPS ones. I believe they have those out there. I believe they're really costly.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but they're out there.
Sure, sure. But if somebody does find an animal that's a stray, they can easily go to a clinic, a vet's office, and they can download the information from the chip in order to find the owner. Is that right?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. That's almost a case of the dog finding the owner as opposed to the owner finding the dog, isn't it?
Very much so, yes.
Yeah. Well, in Newton Falls, I've been the city manager a little over a year and a half, and I've noticed it is a dog-loving community. And if a dog wanders down the street without an owner for any short period of time, before you know it, there's a Facebook post and a picture saying, hey, I either saw this dog, or B, this dog is now in my possession, come and get it. Does
Yes.
Newton Falls have a positive reputation when it comes to the dog warden's office?
Yeah, I believe we do. We do our best to get these dogs back home too. We have our county website that we get the dogs up, right up, their pictures up as soon as they come into our facility. Then we also have wonderful volunteer groups, rescue groups that as soon as I get those dogs on the truck, we're snapping a picture. We are putting it out there on Facebook trying to find an owner. People
Yeah.
in the community are great too. Just like you said, they'll grab them up, they'll get a picture and get it on social media. Social media is wonderful for getting these dogs home.
Sure. Now, you mentioned a volunteer group. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I know people in Newton Falls are always trying to give their time. So tell me about the volunteers and how Newton Falls citizens can be part of the volunteer group.
So we have a couple rescue groups and volunteer groups that help us with spays and neuters, help with walking the dogs and things like that. Right now, unfortunately, because of COVID and everything, we have kind of had to put a halt to like a lot of our dog walkers and stuff coming in. Mm-hmm. That would be part of the volunteer program. I hope that we can get back into that very soon. But yeah, thanks to COVID, we've had to limit that as well.
Well, under normal times, people can contact your office and register as a volunteer. Is that right?
Yeah, during normal times,
Yeah.
you can call our office, come down and fill out our volunteer application. We show you the ropes, explain everything, and you're good to go. You're walking dogs within 20 minutes.
Wow, wow. And the
Yeah.
number is 330-675-2787, right?
Correct.
Yeah. As it relates to the volunteer activities, there are other things they can do other than just walk dogs. I mean, when I was talking to you yesterday, getting ready for this interview, you were very busy with lots of activities there. So there's a lot of work to be done over at the office of the dog warden, isn't there?
There is, yeah. There's always something to do there, whether it's walking the dogs, bathing the dogs, cleaning, dishes. There's always something to do there.
Yeah. Let's talk for a moment about saving the lives of dogs that otherwise are remaining unclaimed. I know that's always a very tough topic. Are there things that people can do to help make sure that these strays that are picked up eventually can find a good home as opposed to some other more unsavory end?
Sure. So we have, we're really proud of our adoption success at the Trumbull County Pound. We have over a 99% adoption rate there.
Oh my gosh. That's got to
yeah,
be the best in the whole country.
We're really proud of that. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication from a lot of people in our community. As I said, again, the volunteers that are coming and getting these dogs out, socializing them, getting them energy. A good dog is a tired dog. We always say at the Pound.
Yeah.
Our rescue groups that help with spays and neuters, everything. The volunteers of the Trumbull County Pound, the voices of the Trumbull County Pound, those places, and all of our volunteers, along with us, we make it happen. It's very nice.
Well, then let's be very clear to folks about it. Because of your high adoption rate, euthanizing dogs is actually a very rare activity over at your facility. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say. Yes, it has definitely become that at our facility, and we really don't even do it at our facility. We have a licensed vet, that would do it medically, or if it was something that we couldn't touch over a long period of time. We really try. We have people that evaluate and assess the dogs and try to get them out and try to help and socialize, and we have groups that offer training for them. So it's becoming very rare, that we have to. We do our best.
Sure. Let's talk about your staff a little bit. You're not just a one-man band, one-woman band. What kind of staffing do you have?
So we have 4 deputy dog wardens, and then we have a secretary, and then myself. So we have about 6. We're a staff of 6 there.
That's outstanding. Back in the old days, you'd watch an old gang comedy, and the dog warden was always kind of a villain, trying
Sure.
to take the kids, Petey with the circle around his eye, always trying to haul him off, and the kids were always trying to protect Petey from the dog warden. The modern dog warden really is kind of a positive influence in the community. Would that be a fair way of putting it?
We are. Yeah, we are for sure. Like I said, again, we do our best to get these dogs home. And if we do not, we do our best to get them into a good family. It's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
Places like our facility are a lot different. A lot.
Sure, sure. One of the other aspects of it is that your staff works very hard also to make sure dogs generally are kept healthy in the community. Can you talk about how you do that?
Well, we have a vet that we take our dogs to. We have a couple actually in the community, and then some out of the community. When the dogs come in, they're getting their vaccines, they're getting wormed, then they're getting spayed or neutered. Anything that they need, anything medically that they need, they are getting. And as I said before, a lot of that has to do with the volunteers of the Trumbull County Pound and the Voices of the Trumbull County Pound, 2 little rescue groups that fundraise and donate and make that possible also for these dogs.
Michelle, the news always likes to publish sensational stories. And so every now and then we see news of a health department or some animal division making a quote-unquote raid on a household in which many dogs are being kept in unsanitary, unsafe, unhealthy, and sometimes abusive conditions. Do things like that still pop up every now and then, Michelle?
Definitely. Yeah, they do. Usually we will kind of pass that along to our local humane society. That way they can get the humane officers out there and investigate and prosecute if they need to.
Yeah.
But we are involved, sure, in those to some degree or something. Maybe we'll stumble upon them first.
Yeah. It's got to break your
But
heart.
they're still out there.
It's got to break your heart when you find those conditions.
Yeah, it's sad. It's a sad situation for everyone involved, including the animals.
Yeah. Michelle, I would imagine that in a lot of those rare but nonetheless occasional conditions where the animals are kept in unhealthy or abusive conditions, frequently the person who's the controller of the property or the person that's keeping those animals frequently have some mental problems themselves. Is that a fairly common thread?
It is, yeah, most definitely. It's also a proven fact, so you do see that often.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of like a domino effect. If somebody is abusing animals, more than likely they're abusing their own children.
Yeah.
Things like that. It all kind of stems together. They've found, done research on. So it's sad. It's sad all around.
All right. Well, we're in the era of the pandemic. Are there any special pieces of advice you can give to the community as relates to their dogs? I haven't heard that animals pick up the COVID-19, but honestly, I don't know. What's the science and what things can we be doing?
I think that everybody's okay with their animals. I don't believe that there's been any science that our pets, our dogs, are getting this. I wouldn't suggest anybody to dump their dog at a local shelter or a pound because of it.
Yeah.
They're going to be fine, and I just pray that we all get through this.
Sure.
And we're back to normal sometime soon.
Okay, one last question about an observation, and that is during this pandemic, a lot of people become isolated from social situations with other people. And I would imagine that the relationship with their dog has actually become much more important during the pandemic. Is that your observation as well?
No, not really. We've noticed that during this pandemic that, everybody is more involved with their animals, more involved with their dogs.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we see that. People are really involved with their animals. They have nothing but time on their hands. They're taking their dogs for walks. They are wanting to adopt. This is the perfect time for them to adopt. We've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people that aren't going to work and they're out on the streets in the middle of the day walking their dogs. I almost think that a lot of these dogs at homes are kind of liking this idea of having time to spend with their owners that they didn't have before.
For sure. Yes, for sure. Yeah, we've seen a lot like that. It's great, which is great.
Sure. All right, well, we're going to wrap up now. Michelle, any last remarks of general advice for people, especially during these hot days of summer, that you have for the families that are watching us this morning?
Definitely keep your dog, any animal, keep them in if you can. Give them access to shade, fresh water, cold water, all day long, 24 hours a day. Don't be tying anything up outside for long periods of time with no shade, no shelter. Do your best. If you're hot, so are they.
Yeah, I would imagine that that's very much the case. Are there some breeds that deal with the heat better than others, Michelle?
Yeah, there are some, just like for the cold. Some deal with the cold better than others, but
Yeah.
I would still just go with that golden rule.
Yeah, I would.
If it's hot out, get them in the shade, fresh water, all the time, all throughout the day. Just common sense.
Yeah, I would think a big furry St. Bernard really doesn't like this time of year outside.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. Yeah. Just some common sense, goes a long way. Most definitely keep them out of the sun and keep them hydrated for sure.
Sure. All right, well, Michelle, thanks for taking care of the animals and caring for them. I can already tell just by this interview that there's a great deal of compassion in what you do for the animals and for the owners. And what a great comfort to know that Trumbull County has its own dog warden division. Thanks for everything you do. And please call upon us over at Newton Falls City Hall if we can ever be of assistance to you in your program as well, all right?
Okay, thank you so much. So glad to be on.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Have a good day.
You too. I'll see you, Michelle. Michelle Goss, the dog warden, not the animal warden, specifically, her job is assigned to dogs, and what a great comfort to know. And there are very few communities that actually have an isolated office directed to dogs only. Now, I didn't ask her if we have a cat department, and something tells me we don't. It's probably blended in with all the other animals, but certainly dogs are the dominant pet in American homes, and knowing that here in Trumbull County and thus in Newton Falls, Ohio, we've got somebody you can turn to. And remember, that phone number is 330-675-2787. 675-2787. And I've learned from my interacting with them to get this interview going, they are extremely responsive. You may have to leave a message every now and then because the amount of work they have to do with that staff of 6 people for the entire county is massive. So don't be afraid to leave a message. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of another one of our Newton Falls morning updates, Tuesday and Friday mornings. And endure the dog days of summer. Keep your social distance. wear the mask as a barrier. And as I say at the end of each one of these programs, God bless America and God bless the city of Newton Falls.